peanut sauce. So in our theme of using world flavors, we're going to do this. It has a bit of a Thai, Indonesian feel, so you're getting some flavors from those parts of the world. And let me explain the ingredients that we have. So we have some peanut butter, we have some sliced scallions, some chopped cilantro, some soy sauce or tamari, some brown sugar, some minced ginger, and some chili garlic sauce. This chili garlic sauce is really like a prepared sauce that has chili and garlic, just as the name suggests. And it's nice because you can just quickly add a touch of those flavors to any dish. And adding more will add more than a touch. And it's a way that if you're cooking for people who have varying taste preferences, say you have someone who doesn't want any spice and someone else who loves spice, it's great to have that around because you can, kick up the spice level on just an individual portion pretty quickly. We're going to add it to this sauce, and then we have a lime to bring out some brightness because the nut-based sauces can be a little heavy otherwise. And let me mention a note about food allergies. So peanuts are one of the most common food allergies. So you're not out of luck if you have that or have someone in your family with that. You want to make this sauce sunflower butter. Sunflower seed butter works great as a replacement. It tastes very similar when it's done and same texture, so that's a great replacement. You just want to make sure that, like anyone with food allergies, you look at the labels and make sure to say that it's in a peanut-free facility because sometimes other nut butters or seed butters are processed in a plant that makes peanut butter. And then you can also use other nut butter. So you could use almond butter or cashew butter, whatever your taste preference. Almond butter makes it taste a lot different, but it's still a very good sauce. If you're looking for something that's just a pretty equal replacement, definitely stick with sunflower seed butter, making sure that you get the kind that's just sunflower seeds. If you get the kind that's salted or it has sugar added, which a lot of them have sugar added, then you're going to need to, you could still use it, but you might reduce the sugar or you might reduce the salty component like the soy sauce in this recipe. So again, you can make a lot of variations in cooking. The more you learn, the easier it is to modify and just use what you have on hand instead of having to go out and buy lots of new or different ingredients. So there's no special way to add this together. You just put everything in the bowl and mix it up. So we're going to add our chili garlic sauce, our minced ginger. We're going to add, you can add a portion of the brown sugar. So for things I like to use small amounts of, I might add part of it and then adjust the flavoring a little bit more later. I know that we're going to need at least this much tamari, so I'll go ahead and add all of that. And then I'm going to save the cilantro and scallions until I'm done whisking, adjusting the seasoning. It's a little bit harder to whisk with the big chunks in there. So do this. We're going to add our peanut butter. Let's have a natural peanut butter. It's just ground up peanuts. There's nothing else added to it. If you really don't want to buy a bunch of ingredients and you have a good blender, you don't need to buy nut butters at all. You can just blend them up and make your own anytime you want. Okay, so we have our peanut butter there. And then this is going to be thicker than we want as a sauce. So I'm just going to mix it up a little bit, and then we have our hot water in our kettle over here. And that's just going to be what we use to adjust the consistency or the thickness. I recommend highly starting with room temperature peanut butter. Don't use it straight out of the fridge. You won't be able to whisk it. All right, so you can see it's very thick. This is not a sauce, right? Not a sauce. We're gonna add our hot water to it. And it makes more sense to get the texture, consistency you want first before you start adjusting the flavoring, because you can imagine you can get it perfect, and then if you water it down a bunch, it's no longer perfect, and you have to do it all over again. It'll save you a little time. Make sure your water is hot, so that you'll see that this is even going to be a little challenging to whisk together. It will eventually kind of melt into that hot water. If you use cold water, you will never mix it together. And if you do manage to mix it together, it will be chunky, like it doesn't emulsify, it doesn't look nice. It's not a nice texture. Oops. Some splashing is probably going to happen. So when you're trying to figure out what consistency to aim for, it can be whatever you like, but I would encourage you to make it thinner than you think you're going to need. Nuts are a thickener, so as it sits, it's going to thicken up. So if you get it exactly the way you want it, then let it sit and finish your meal, it'll be kind of pasty or too thick when you go to eat. So you can have it just like this. We have a nice, nice pourable sauce you can drizzle over things. It's also nice to make it a little on the thin side. Nuts have lots of healthy fats. If you're in any way concerned about your calories, though, there's a lot of calories in them. So the thinner you make it, the easier it is to just get a little bit on each bite. and not have like a big chunk that's going to have tons of extra calories. And now that we have the consistency we want, the next thing we want to do is adjust the flavoring. So the last things we want to add is this lime. Nice juicy lime, we'll give that a squeeze. And then if you want to add more salt, you could have that handy. I know that this is a good amount typically, so I'll go ahead and taste it and double check. But if you want it spicier, I'd also recommend adding more of that chili garlic sauce. The other thing we want to check for is sweetness. Remember, we have that brown sugar in reserve, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stir that up. Okay, go ahead and take a taste. Yeah, it's perfectly salted, so that's good. You know, I personally would probably have a little more chili garlic sauce. It does need a little more sweetness. I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest. And I'm gonna use the rest of that lime, and I think we're going to be ready to go. Again, before you add more salt, make sure to get it right where you want it with the acidity, because that's gonna help reduce how much you need in the end. You can save these as a garnish and just garnish the dish that you serve with them, or you can mix it in the sauce. I think I'm gonna save mine as a garnish. So, some of our tasting spoon. Perfect. So tasty. I can't wait to dip our roasted tofu in this.